Section 4.5, we're going to be factoring trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. A cannot be 1. So before, we were factoring trinomials that had a equals 1. We just had x squared. We didn't have a number there. This time, we'll have a number there, and we'll see how that changes things. The FOIL method is still what we will be using. We'll be thinking about first, outside, inside, and last. As before, we factor out the greatest common factor. We need to choose two numbers in the first position that will multiply and give us ax squared. We then will choose two numbers to put in the last position that will multiply and give us c. And the last thing we will do is we will make sure that we have outside plus inside equals our middle term, which is bx. And we always check by multiplying. So let's look at our first example. You can see right away there's a 3 in front of that x squared. So we're going to create our double set of parentheses. We need to put something in the first position so that when we multiply them, we will get 3x squared. Let's put a 3x here and an x here. That makes sense. 3x times x is 3x squared. We still want to, that's our first step, we still want to figure out what the factors of 20 are. Could be 1 times 20, could be 2 times 10, could be 4 times 5. So we need to figure out which of those numbers to put in these positions. Let's figure out what the signs are. Sometimes I do that first. We'll do it third now, it's okay. Plus 20. You want to get a positive 20 when you multiply these two last numbers. That means their signs must be the same. It has to be a plus and a plus or a minus and a minus. Which one will it be? Well, the inside and the outside has to add up to negative 19x. The only way that can happen is if they are both negative. That'll give us a positive 20 when we multiply negative times a negative, and our inside and outside will be negative. So now let's take our factors. We're going to use trial and error. Might get a little messy. Use an eraser. Some people can do it mentally. I think it takes a little practice. Let's just give it a shot and see what we can do. Let's try 1 and 20. That gives us minus 1x, minus 60x. Notice that when you do the outside, you're multiplying the minus 20 times the 3x. So that 3 has come into play now. That's minus 61. That's not right. Let's erase those. 1 and 20 did not work. Because the 3 is there now, we have to try the other possibility of 20 and 1. That gives us minus 20x, minus 3x. That's minus 23x. That didn't work either. So we have to reverse the numbers. Try them first one way and then the other. So that verifies for sure that 1 and 20 is not going to work. Cross it off. 2 and 10. Negative 2x minus 30x. That didn't work. I'm telling you, you get faster at this. You get a sense of what you're looking for. Then, let's try 10 and 2. Negative 10x negative 6x. That's not right. Let's erase that. We can cross off 2 and 10. We tried it both ways, it didn't work. 4 and 5, minus 4x minus 15x. Hey, 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 look at that, that's correct. This is our correct answer. 4 and 5. There it is, we have found our solution. 3x minus 4 times x minus 5. So, how can we get a little faster at this? Honestly, practice. Practice, practice, practice. This one is a little more complicated because we have 8x squared. So, is it 8x times x? Maybe. Or is it 4x times 2x? Maybe. I don't know. We have to try both of them. It's a little less complicated though because we have 5. That can only be 1 times 5. And of course we'll also have to try 5 times 1. We'll have to reverse the order. What about the sign? Can you look at the signs here and figure out what the signs will be? Are they both negative? That's right. All right, let's figure out what numbers to put in here. Let's try the 1 and then the 5. Think about the outside, minus 40, minus 1x, minus 40x, minus 1x. That's not right. Let's try 5 and 1. Minus 5x, minus 8x, minus 13x. So close, but no cigar. So, this is not correct. Let's try 1 and 5. That gives us outside minus 20, inside minus 2x. That's not right. Boy, I hope this last one's right. Is it 5 and 1 minus 10x minus 4x? We have a winner. That is the correct solution. So we had 2 different sets of parentheses to try, but we only had one way to factor 1 and 5, or 5 as 1 times 5, so that made it a little easier. Here's another one that has 2 possible sets of parentheses. 6y and y, or 2y and 3y. What are the signs? There's a positive here and a positive here. So what are the signs? They're both positive. How can we factor 10? 1 times 10 or 2 times 5. Some of you will be able to look at this and tell me what the answer is. You can mentally go through and kind of quickly put those numbers in. Can you do it? Okay, I confessed. I paused the video so I could mentally go through and quickly put the answers in. Were you able to find where to put the numbers, which set of numbers to put, and where to put them? Did you put a 5 and a 2? Our outside is 12y, our inside is 5y. That gives us 17y. So we have to go through and try the 1 and the 10 and the 10 and the 1. In both sets of parentheses, try the 2 and the 5 and the 2, until we can get the correct outside plus inside. The outside plus the inside has to be equal to 17y. Let's factor this. What a mess. what's the first thing we always do? We think about is if there is a greatest common factor. What is the greatest common factor here? The largest number that will divide evenly into 6, 20, and negative 16 is 2. X raised to what exponent? It's the smallest of the exponents because that's what they have in common. So we factor out the 2x squared. What does that leave us with? 3 times 2 is 6. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. What do we put here so that when we multiply, we get 20x cubed? 10x. And finally, what do we put here so that when we multiply, we get minus 16x squared? That's not right. Get rid of that. And close our parentheses. So is that correct? Can we multiply through and get 6x to the 4th plus 20x to the 3rd minus 16x squared? I think that's correct. So now we want to set up our set of parentheses so that we have 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. 3x and x makes sense. What are the signs going to be? It's a minus 8, so one will be positive and one will be negative. Which one? I don't know. Let's just put them in there and hope for the best. So 8 is 1 times 8, and it's 2 times 4. We need 10x as our outside plus our inside. If we put the 4 here and the 2 here, that will give us plus 2x on the inside minus 12x on the outside. That is minus 10x. That is so close. We have the right number, but we have the wrong sign. That means we have the right numbers and we have them in the right location, but we put the wrong sign. What happens if we make this negative and this positive? That would change it to a minus 2x, a positive 12x, giving us a positive 10x. So 3x times x is 3x squared. 12x minus 2x, 10x. And negative 2 times positive 4 is negative 8. So this is our solution. How about this one? Let's try it. We need 3x squared. 3x times x. We have a positive 1 and a positive x in the middle. So what must our signs be? One can only be factored one way, as 1 times 1. So let's put it in there. 1x on the inside, 3x on the outside gives us a middle term of 4x. Oh my gosh, what happened? The only way we can factor 3x squared is 3x times x. There's no other way to factor it. The only way we can factor 1 is 1 times 1. There is no other way to factor it. But we don't have the correct middle term. But there's no other option for us. There's no other way to put the numbers in there to get our middle term that we need of positive x. This problem is prime. It cannot be factored. Sometimes the correct answers to math problems will be, it can't be done, and that's exactly what this one is. It cannot be factored.